This is Veazie Podcast 3. Christian is back and feeling better.
I am.
Woohoo! All right, so we missed last week. We're a little bit behind, but we are coming back to do this. Kick some butt, because I can't swear. All right, so let's talk politics again, because that's always fun. Because this never irritates anybody.
Anything specific?
Anything specific. That's a good... Yesterday I saw this... I was watching YouTube yesterday, and there's a lot of people on there who do not show their political views one way or the other because they're afraid of making people mad. Like, it was a Markiplier video, so he wasn't being serious, but it was a wouldyouppressthebutton.com. You know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love those things, and he loves them too because they're thought-provoking.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them was, would you rather, or not would you rather, but you get paid for doing no work, you don't have to work a day in your life, 40 hours minimum wage. You cannot make any other money any other way. And he started talking about, well, that's a huge problem, is the minimum wage too much? No, stop. And he like says, stop, comments, no.
What?
He's just like yelling at the people typing in the comments, typing politics. Later in the video too, he brings up that that, you know what, just go tell those people still arguing about politics in the comments that I'm a mean person.
I think my big thing with politics right now, and I've been fed up with a lot of personal stuff lately, that's kind of really similar, but like, since we're on the thing of politics, I'll bring it up real quick because I have it on my phone, but I saw this really, it was really thought-provoking for me at the moment. It was a photo I had seen, and it was a quote from Bernie Sanders, back in 1972. I guess this is what he wanted to do. I guess it's not a quote, but it's what he wanted to do in 1972. He said, "Let us abolish all laws which attempt to impose a particular brand of morality on people. Let us abolish all laws dealing with abortion, drugs, sexual behavior," and then in parentheses, adultery, homosexuality, etc. I think my big thing is I'm really tired of people telling me how to think, what to think, what I can do, what I can't do. And then, like, the reasons are obvious, yes, but it's like, why should I, like, as long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm being a productive human being, why should I have to base off my morals off of like morals. The general population? Like, you're allowed to like approve of some things, not be the biggest fan of other things, but like ultimately you're supposed to coexist with others and not have like this one mind link where everybody likes all the same things and doesn't like the same things and approves of all the same things, and it's like it doesn't work like that, and you're just making the system harder.
Yeah, you do know that is that kind of mindset. Everybody looks the same, thinks the same. That is what Hitler tried to do with the Nazis. He tried to get everybody to follow his one view. So we need diversity. And that's what is wrong, is because people are taking their morals, their religion, their rules, and saying, all right, now everybody has to follow these because everybody is exactly like me. And then you see somebody who's homosexual. You see somebody who is trans. You see, hell, even a woman. They have different needs. They have different viewpoints. They have different minds. We cannot all be the same person.
I had a thought, and I think it ran away.
Where'd it go?
Oh, I found it. It came back to me.
Oh, okay. Was it just getting something?
Well, you brought up Hitler, and I think one of my big things was, like, it's... how do I want to word this? I'm sorry. I think my big thing is I've been on social media a lot lately, and I've dealt with stuff in school, and I'm just seeing people who are like saying like this is right, and they're fighting about how it's right. I just don't like. And one of the big thoughts that came to my mind was like an English example. Well, say we need to do a paper, and it needs to be persuasive, whatever, and we want everybody to like think the way we think, and we have to explain that, right? Why do we have to explain it where we are the only ones who's right? Like, of course you have to rebuttal and be like, well, this person's kind of right, but no, I'm really right. Like, why can't we not both be right, and we can just exist together? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, why? I don't understand the need to be around people who are exactly the same to a fundamental level, and it doesn't make sense, and it's not productive. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm tapping.
I understand you're getting agitated.
I am.
But that's what persuasive essays that kind of tick me off because, yeah, I'm trying to show my opinion. I'm trying to persuade you to mine, but you are not even looking at any gray area. With that and with a lot of what people think happens, it's black and white. It's right and wrong. And that's not how people think. I think this is more right, but I could also see why it's wrong. And that's what everything is. It's different layers of gray.
Well, and
not going to make another 50 Shades of Grey joke.
It's been like, but that's the thing. That's been dragged through like our legal system. Like there is no gray area. There's no like, there's we're right and you have to like. It's American to think this way, and everybody should want to be American, and everybody who's not American should be jealous of us, and like we should all think like this, and we should all be like this religion, and like I know that's not like exactly how it is, but like lately that's really how it's felt because I'm just
that they're really. It seems like they're splitting, and they have done this definitely. And honestly, I think that we should have third parties because right now you're either Democrat or Republican. No, I'm not. You have to be liberal or conservative. No, I'm not. I'm somewhere in the middle. I might be leaning more one way,
well,
but
that's what independent is for.
Yeah, but see, and that's where people laugh is, honestly, if Bernie Sanders was trying to run and he went third party, nobody would vote for him.
Bernie Sanders is an independent running as a Democrat.
Yes, and that's because he's an independent, but he's joining Democrat even though that's not solely his beliefs because he will get ignored any other way, and that's kind of messed up that it's black, white, Democrat, Republican, liberal, conservative, not, and they don't look at anything else. They don't look at anything in between, and that's what Bernie Sanders is he's in between these viewpoints. He's different, but he has to conform. He has to go on one side, or else he will not be paid attention to. And there's other people out there. I mean, there's a huge list of different political parties. Like, there's one that's the KKK has a political party.
Is it really?
Yeah, there's one called the American Pot Party.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, these are all licensed, actual, certified political parties, but they're never going to get recognition. We have one that I think is the Green Party, where people focus on. Yeah, that one is.
That one is WIG.
Yeah, that one has just. I'm sorry about that background noise. People in the other room are loud and obnoxious. But people just are not going to vote for a third party when people feel like it's a wasted vote.
I think the problem is we're just showing people that you can have this extreme or that extreme, and you have to live like one of us. And so then one of the biggest things is that, like, how do I want to word this? I have so many thoughts. Okay, we're going to start over, kind of. I've been thinking a lot from, like, teenager perspectives lately. Not even, like, my perspective. Not even, like, another teenager's perspective, but more along the lines of, like, how we develop and how we grow and how we form our opinions. And it's been something that's been, like, really in my mind lately. And it's, like, we feed off of everything else, and we're really not thinking for ourselves. Even when we think we are thinking for ourselves, we're
still being influenced by other people.
I mean, not even so. I mean, influence is one thing, but like when you talk about it, like say all your beliefs or how you think and everything, and like you're just, I mean, especially when you're a young teenager, you're just like, you are a cliche because that's all you know, because you haven't developed. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand, like they've literally are so, I want to say mainstream developed, but don't get the wrong idea when I say that. I just mean like our primary, like everything we put on like media or whatever, that shapes us. And so when you're just throwing all this generic stuff and you're not showing us that, like, I mean, it's hard to show that there's all this other like background stuff when we're just like, look at all the spotlight stuff. And so we're affecting all these young people to look a certain way. And we're not, I mean, I know it sounds cliche and it sounds generic and it sounds like something that's been really said over and over, but like people literally don't know how to think for themselves. They don't.
They really don't. And I do have an example for this. I used to live in Utah. I used to have to go to the Mormon church. I lived in a very Mormon household. PG-13 movies were a privilege to watch. Nobody cussed. Nobody did anything bad. Stupid was a bad word. And, of course, I was half in that family, half not. My adopted dad was in it. It was faking being in it, but that's a different topic that probably we won't get into. But they had a daughter, and she was my stepsister. And when I visited her last, she was having those thoughts of, what if this isn't right? And that's what and when people say, 13, 14, 15-year-olds, those people are all just rebels. It's because they're starting to realize what their parents are saying is not the only thing that's right. You go to a 12-year-old, they're like, yeah, I'm a Republican because my mom's a Republican.
Exactly.
But when they start being exposed to the rest of the world, they're like, they don't know what to do with anything else.
There's more to that process, though, too, because you have, like, these 12 through 14-year-olds who are, stereotypically starting to rebel because they do, like, finally see the world for a moment, and only in certain parts that there's more to it. But then once they start to express themselves, a lot of times, whether it be family or just the responses they get back from everybody else, it becomes negative of this positive thing, and so they revert back to the mainstream. And it happens usually by the time you hit 18 or 19 if you haven't, like, stuck. Like, I know that I am an extreme person. I know that I'm extremely liberal. I like a lot of weird things, but I'm also, like, realistic, and I would like, and like I know how to speak, I know how to do things, and I would like to say that's based just off of development, and that's why when we have, like, younger people who have, like, the same, like, those general, like, thought processes, we make them feel bad and be like, stop acting like this, be a real person. It's just like, that person is they're gonna act quote unquote stupid at times because they literally I personally have taken, like, over the last year to develop as a human, thought process wise, like, not the content of my thoughts, but, like, how I think. I finally feel like an adult.
Solve how you
exactly
how you think through. Okay, so this is happening. These are the different options I can do, and a lot of people try to teach you this in development classes, that this is how a child develops, and they start realizing this around there, but they don't actually tell you what it feels like to actually be thinking about. You know what? And it's quick, it's instantaneous. It's not like you actually sit there with a pen and paper writing a pro and con list about every little thing. It's just
you do it in your head, though.
Yeah, instantaneously. Your thoughts are like, I could go to this party. I could go and do this. I could go and drink. But should I? Should I go and do this? Should I do this? And you do that quickly, and depending on how you were raised, that's how you make stupid decisions.
I think one of my biggest problems is, like, we have this nature over nurture, like, argument. And, like, I really hate how there's a lot of things that, like, our community looks at as evil or bad or even, like illegal, which, quote unquote, legality does not mean something is moral, and something being illegal does not mean something is immoral. Once again, that's our community-based morals, which is a bunch of load of bull, if you ask me, but going on. What was I even saying? I got just so frustrated.
You started getting into morals. You started getting into.
But
everybody.
No. I know where I was. Okay. I apologize. I just have to backtrack. But when we have these people who, like, look at certain things and go, like, they get queasy. They don't know if it's good because, like, that's all they've been enveloped with. And, like, to say something is strictly good or bad, almost anything is a lie. Everything is gray. Even if it's 0.99 or 0.1, everything is gray, nothing is black, and nothing is white. Absolutely everything.
Here, let me run through some scenarios right here. Shooting a pregnant woman.
Okay, that had to be extreme as hell.
That's what I'm saying, though. It's still not that's about a 0.99. But there still is instances when you can go that 0.01. And
well, you're talking about time and place and cause and reason.
Yes.
Whereas I'm talking about they're very similar concepts, but the idea is, like, let's take an object. I don't want to get into specifics because that would imply my own general, like, feelings about something that's probably illegal. But I'm not and there's multiple things that I have opinions on that are illegal that I don't think should be, but not going there. We have a lot of things that we take an object. And we say, this is bad, and we show a large portion of people, if not brainwash them, because, by the way, that's what history has done. If you, like, even take, like, 20 minutes to look at some of the big, not even big things. It's like the things that happen between all the big things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's all the events that happen between all the really big things. There was consistent brainwashing, and I mean that. It's just, like, making people think something is one way when it's, like, almost nothing is just done a certain way or one way.
And really quick to intersect, when you were saying between two big things, that is how Hitler got brainwashed. Between World War I, when he saw Germany lose, and World War II, when he became chancellor, and then became a dictator, he brainwashed all of those people because he became chancellor because his mind got warped because he saw Germany lose. And then he turned it into this huge power struggle, and then that turned into more brainwashing of this huge masses.
Two things. One, you have an interesting obsession with Hitler.
Hey,
Two,
you know what? He's my favorite infamous person. I do not like him, but I think he is an interesting person.
Touche.
I think he is a very, very messed up person who should not, be alive. He's Disney, though. He's Walt Disney. I'll go through that
later. Okay, I don't want to know.
That has a different theory.
I was just going to say, going on what you were saying earlier, the big thing is just, like, be self-aware. Like, you have to be self-aware. Like, you can refrain from becoming brainwashed. You can refrain from, like, becoming 100% infected from the outside. But the idea is, like, not everything outside of you is an infection. Like, there's a ton of good in this world, but we really, really, really like to focus on the things that we like to call solely bad.
Because that gets more of a profit. That you look at something
That's
bad,
true.
you look at some terrorists blowing up some American soldiers. Whoa, that's really bad. I feel bad. I do not like Iraq, but. Do you look at them destroying
That's
families?
such a generalization.
Yeah, it really is, but that's one of the bad things. You like looking at that. Oh, somebody nip slipped during the Was it the VMAs? No, it was during.
I don't know. It's a body part. I don't know why it's important.
Yeah, it was a halftime show. They look at that because that sells more. You don't look at all of the charity work
the
on
thing,
people.
going on like that real quick. Not to interrupt you because I know I'm really good at it at this point, but we're really drama hungry, and I get drama to an extent because like some of it can be exciting, but I just feel like there's good drama and not good and bad. I'm not using those words. There's positive and negative drama, and like I don't understand what's so enticing about why are we so enticed by negative drama? Because I know that I'm not.
But there are like so many people, and like teenage girls are really good at this for some reason.
You just stereotyped an entire group of people.
You know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. Not every
I know you
teenage
didn't mean to put it like that, but still.
Okay, here I'll say this. Half of the teenage girls at our school like drama. They like getting in
here's
each other's
something.
face.
Okay, I'm not trying to be a butt. I just have to be a butt because I'm good at it. The way, if you want to be PC and say that, politically correct, just say, I have met many girls who strive off of drama.
That's true, and
that's the politically correct way to say.
There is also guys who do it. They like to get in each other's face. And
I know somebody.
Bro?
Not even like that. Like I know somebody personally, but that's not important.
They just get themselves involved because it makes them feel important.
I think something that also leads on to that is I know that as a human being, I like to vent a lot, and I like to complain about things, and I like to complain about specifics a lot, but never think that when I complain about someone or I'm really upset about anything and it sounds like I'm really hating that thing, half the time I'm not. I'm just frustrated with it.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like we as humans will just we like to go that extra step. We like to go all the way or not at all. And so we like to turn venting into something way worse than it even needs to be in the first place.
Yeah. I like venting.
And what?
I like to vent too. I like to show my opinion on what it is bothering me, and then there are people who say, you can't complain about everything. I'm like, I'm not complaining. I'm venting. I'm showing my
and there
emotions.
is a difference, because I find that I vent quite often, but I'm content a lot. I'm venting consistently, but I'm also very consistently content most of the time too, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with venting, and personally, I love arguing with people. And I think it's funny because I know I have family who who doesn't like to argue with me, but because they're oh, I don't want anybody's feelings to get hurt. I don't want bad stuff to happen. At the end of the day, although there are some opinions I greatly dislike, I'll respect you as long as you agree to respect me in the beginning, and we'll start off like that. I will respect you at the end.
And then
100%.
I honestly agree with that. And when I go to work, I will get mad at my coworkers, and I will yell at them to get their work done, or they'll get mad at me. But at the end of the day, you know what? It was work. It was what we needed to do, and that's the same with arguing. It's what we need to do. We need to argue. Well, we don't need to argue, but if we sit down and have an argument, or we have a debate, that kind of thing, you can't get mad about that.
Right. That's different. But don't have lived with portions of my life people who strive off of like literally arguing with people. Like there's a difference where you sit down and argue with somebody, which is what I usually do, because I very rarely actually ever argue with people. Like there's a difference between like controversial topics and then little tiny things that should not even affect you.
Yeah.
And I mean that.
And I mean,
like, and it's half the time it's somebody else doing it to you, and you complain about it, and then you make things 10 times worse than they need to be. I'm sorry, my brain is a little scattered, so if I've gone from like 70 different topics.
That's what I was just gonna say. Is we started here, and now we're all the way out here.
I know
we have branches everywhere. Honestly,
I just my brain is half mush, half solid. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was interesting. What were we talking about?
I don't know.
Before we went all the way. I mean, we were talking about something. Seth MacFarlane endorses Bernie Sanders, and I think that's interesting.
That's cool. Well, I mean, I mean, Bernie Sanders has been getting like people who can really see like the world for what it, and okay. People who, like, in my opinion, see the change that I think needs to be like really changed, like for the positive. Like nothing negative will come out of these changes. Nothing negative, only positives, and that's like Bernie Sanders' whole platform. And it's awesome. And like I've gone through recently I've gone through like North Omaha, sorry. I was going to elaborate. Recently, and there's Bernie signs everywhere.
Good.
Which is like fascinating because for those of you who don't know, if you don't, Nebraska is like such an extremely conservative state in general. Just look into it. You'll be sad. It's okay.
At least they only get 3 votes.
So, and I have a lot of faith, even though there are points or there'll be like a week or two where it like seems like Bernie's like not even like important anymore. He spikes back up because everything he says and does has relevancy more than almost any of the other candidates. And I feel like he's the only one who's like trying to like get everybody to pull the sticks out of their butts. And everybody's like, no, I'm comfortable with this.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with being forced into this thing. And reason you don't see Bernie Sanders in the news except every 2-3 weeks is because he does not sit in the spotlight.
Oh, and he doesn't soak in the bowl. He doesn't. He's like, he wants change and he wants to do. He's a realistic person. He wants to do things realistically, and he's not all about like the jokes and the crappy media. And he hates the media, and he hates the $1 million or the $1 billion companies that fund all of this. And also, another thing I was reading recently: why is the elections company or like corporation funded?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why is it not government funded? Why? It makes you're asking for corruption when you do that. You are literally asking for corruption.
And there are rules against it, but there are so many easy ways to jump over that. Donald Trump should not be able to support his company, since he's the CEO, but his company still has to make a decision with his chairman have to make a decision to fund his, but he's just grabbing the money and placing it there. He's grabbing the money and placing it there, and Bernie Sanders is using his own personal wealth. Any donations he gets, he goes and sends them right back to charity work that he is laying on the groundwork of his platform.
I mean, he's accepting donations. He's just not like taking them from like.
He's not taking them from corporations.
Like people who obviously are like, oh, here's just a gift, Like he's not about that. But if if you're a person and you guys talk and you guys are like on the same side and everything, he's all about that. But like example, like the reason he refused the one guy's donation
that's what I'm looking at.
Was because not only was he a billionaire, but he was immoral. I can clearly say he was being immoral because he raised a $13 average. I don't remember if it's exactly 13, but it was basically a $13 pill up to like 700.
Yeah, that's who it was.
I know.
Yeah,
and
that's what
I know you guys have, if you're listening, have probably all heard this already, but he's not about the crap.
He's not for. I mean, which is weird because he's really, really, really liberal. But somehow he's gotten into, government should stop letting these corporations take over. and that's kind of a conservative idea.
No, that's a
No,
liberal
that's a-
idea.
that's
That's a liberal.
yeah,
like,
no,
did you
conservative is-
see
yeah, no,
Mitt
that's
Romney's whole platform?
Mitt Romney's
He
platform
wanted to
followed-
literally control the government like a company,
Which-
like a corporation.
I mean, when he was coming around, I saw how that could be good because we're so much in debt. But you know what? How about we just take all that money that's coming in, start paying that off, and then start funding things that
Do
will
you know what
actually
the
help
problem
people?
is that us as Americans, we are lazy. And we don't like to go back and change laws because it's too much paperwork. We don't like to manage money because it's too much work and too many numbers. And we wonder why we're failing. And I know that's exactly what it is. And if it's not that, it's greed. It's one or the other, but they're both happening. And we don't care. We've lost care. We as America suck in a
We
lot of
really
ways.
do.
Like, we are great compared to other countries in certain ways, but in a lot of like basic ways where we should have already gotten past this point, we are behind a lot.
We really are behind a lot. We are just because we care way too much about everybody's feelings.
No, that's it. We either care too much or we don't care at all. There is no middle ground.
There's no middle ground where we have to make everything politically correct, or we make everything
we like
super
to make,
offensive.
I was like, that's the thing. We don't like to do things politically correct. And if we like to make them look like they're politically correct, we like to skew things and make them look politically correct. And it's still not the case.
Yeah, we are all for hating other countries, but when it comes to offending our own people,
I think that's ironic. Like, if an American can travel to almost any other country in the world and receive avid discrimination where if they were at other nationality, they otherwise probably would not as much so, then you must understand that there's a probable reason that they don't like you. Not saying that is not that us being Americans and what we do is reason to hate an American, but you wonder why it happens.
yeah.
I'm tired.
We have gotten way. I don't even know what.
We're 26 minutes in.
We are 26 minutes in. That's just a few more than, but. And I was reading through this article right here. It said it was on Newsbusters about the Seth MacFarlane endorsing Bernie Sanders, and I actually really like this. That when at the political debate, he was asked, what is the greatest national security threat to the United States? He was the only candidate on the stage who gave the correct answer, climate change. That he said climate change, everybody else was like terrorism or... I mean, they still are Democrats, so they're not going to say terrorism. Iraq is what it is, but they are still saying national defense. We got to protect our borders, or
it's like nobody even like
things inside of us. We need to start controlling crime better. He is the one who's saying we need to start saving this earth because this earth is going to die.
That's why. Okay, real quick. Before we end this and before we get to that point, that's one of the reasons why I'm all about Bernie and his socialism is because we as we as governmental, as Americans, we like to control everything. We have to have control over everything. And that has expanded beyond our own borders. We are the only country in the world that has a number that I can't think of at the moment, but I know we have like not innumerable, but basically innumerable like military like places of our own in tons of other countries. And we manage almost everything, and it's not our place. Whereas we should like the fact that we can't like trust other like other countries don't want to trust us, and we don't want to trust other countries into certain boundaries is really sad when we should all be just taking care of each other. And I really don't think it's that hard, and it's a lot more fulfilling than making a muck of things.
It really is.
So
just instead of going into other countries where we don't need to be, why don't we focus on this country where we need to be more?
We're so behind on a lot of other things because we just don't have an internal viewpoint. We like to look at how everybody else is messed up and how we as an individual are 100% correct. Like, I know that I'm glad that I can say that if you prove me wrong, I will tell you that you proved me wrong, and I will accept that. And we as Americans don't like to do that, in general.
We don't like to be wrong because America's always right, except we're not. We are wrong in so many things.
Pretty much, I think the moral of the story is we just dissed our own country a lot.
Good.
But that really wasn't...
That's one thing America does really well is we can say this and be allowed to say
I'm
this.
talking from primarily a political view or from a governmental view. But I think America as a people... That's not what I meant to say. America as a people, as a community, I think we have a lot of potential. A lot of potential, especially with the incoming generation and how much we're influencing one another on a positive scale. Like, we're not brainwashing each other. We're like, look, I'm opening the windows. Do you see this?
Yeah, see the actual
You
world.
see this?
Not what the news filters.
And
it
I'm
to.
not saying that just because I am a young person. I'm saying because I'm looking at it, and because as a logical thinker, and I'm not seeing like really a lot of other things going on. I can say that I have a pretty good idea of like, I'm self-aware.
Yes, you're self-aware. You can see the world.
Well, I'm
around.
self-aware, but I'm also like aware of my surroundings pretty clearly. So.
And yeah, I know. I know. Just we gotta fix America, and it better start with this next generation. Anyway, this is going to be the end of this podcast. First off, I would like to apologize for in the first one. I said like 30 people died in that shooting, but only 17 did. If I got any other facts wrong in this or the other one, I will make sure to fact check myself after. Make sure you leave a comment to say I'm wrong.
Oh wow, you're gonna have to do a lot of fact checking.
I'm gonna have to do it. Well, we didn't say many numbers.
Not numbers, but a lot of
if
other
we
stuff.
contradicted ourselves at all in this, tell us, and we will tell you maybe in a future episode, because we're going to start doing some Q&As
I
if
think
we get enough fans.
But like that kind of goes on like our viewpoint though. It's really easy to contradict oneself when you have a universal like viewpoint of something and you see that there's a good and bad. So you're going to contradict yourself at points. Like understand that will happen, but
also
understand that they're
make-
both right at the same time.
Yeah, if we don't make ourselves clear, we will have a Q&A when we get enough fans. So please.
Oh, like we're gonna have a fan base.
I hope not that kind of fan. Well, I hope that kind of fan base.
Just finish it up. Wrap it up.
Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and we will see you the next one.
Bye.